Building the perfect HD gaming PC can be quite a challenge, as there are so many parts now that you sort of can take a look at in terms of using them for your computer. And this is a good thing from a customer's perspective. This means that the more parts there are, the better value they represent for customers, because there's more competition. And more competition is always a good thing, because that means things like sales, and it just overall is healthy for the industry in creating a landscape where parts are sort of affordable enough that anyone can build a computer that is not going to break the bank entirely. And we are going to be looking at such a computer today. So we are looking at building a PC that will be good for HD gaming, but at a high refresh rate. So this will be for competitive gaming, things like Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, Rocket League, those kinds of things at high refresh rates, but then also playing AAA games at, above 60 FPS sort of frame rates. So with that said, I've gone for in terms of the CPU and the motherboard, I have gone for the AMD Ryzen 7 5700. This is the G, but it doesn't really matter. That just means that you get an API built in. If you can find the X, that would be better, but this is the one that I found on sale, so it makes sense to use in this. And this is an 8-core 16-thread CPU, so it's going to be perfect for gaming, and even if you scale up your graphics card down the line, this CPU will still be fine for 2K gaming. And this comes with a Asus Prime B550 Plus motherboard. Now, this is quite a basic motherboard, but it's not bad at all. It has, all of the standard stuff like your NVMe slot. It has 2 PCIe slots, and sorry, my foot is itchy. And it has a couple of PCI slots as well. So this is a full ATX motherboard. And this will be fine in terms of value for the sort of PC that we are going to be building with this. And those PCI slots allow you to install a network card down the line if you so choose to do that. This is a good combo, but there are other ones that will be sort of in line with this. And you don't have to go with the 5700. If you want to go 6-core, a 5500 is fine. The 5700 is just what I would use. So we're gonna pair this with, and let's just say the price. So this is coming in at $250, which is not too bad. We're gonna pair this with some Corsair Vengeance LPX RAM. Now, this is really good budget RAM because it's high speed and good timing, and it comes at a decent price. So this is coming in at $50, $51, and this is 3200 megahertz, 32 gigs of RAM. So that's a good balance for if you want to use the computer for productivity, if you want to watch YouTube videos while you work, YouTube videos while you game. This can do that because you have a lot of RAM. This is good RAM overall, nothing fancy, but it definitely gets the job done. Then moving on to the graphics card, we are going to be taking a look at the RTX 3060. Now, this is quite a contentious part of building a PC because it really depends on what you want to do, but in my opinion, this is the perfect HD gaming card. And the reason for that is the fact that this has 12 gigs of VRAM. Now, that means that you can turn up your textures all the way, and this card can run any game on Ultra when you're playing at HD. And it'll be around 60 FPS. So for me, this is a great card, but this price is not the best. I mean, $300 for a graphics card is quite a lot. At that point, you might feel you want to go $400 and get the next step up. But on the other hand, you can minus $100 and get something like that's my cat, and get something like a 3050 or maybe a 6600 XT. That's probably what I would get. I would probably not do the 3050. Or you can maybe get a second-hand version of this card for around $200, maybe a little bit more. So if you are going to buy from Amazon, this is probably what I would do, but this is quite an expensive card still. But it will get the job done at HD, that is for sure. Moving on to storage, we are going to be using the Patriot P300, and this is a Gen 3 1TB NVMe drive. Nothing fancy, $46 gets the job done. Not the best, not the quickest, not the slowest, not the worst. It's just a passable SSD. Then, of course, 1TB of storage is enough for most people, but if you are going to be playing a lot of AAA games, you might want to get not a hard drive, you might want to get two of these, or just a bigger one. We're going to power this with the Montech APX 750 watt. Now, as far as power supplies go, Montech isn't the worst, but it's not the best, obviously. But, you know, it's a high capacity. It'll do the job. It's not going to be dangerous to use. And it's nothing fancy. This isn't modular or anything like that. So it'll do the job, but it's not going to be the most fancy power supply. It's just going to be just a normal power supply. Now, usually I wouldn't recommend power supplies from these sites, but this one, in my opinion, is more than fine. And this is a 80 plus white power supply. And all of this is going to go into the Montech XR case, which is an ATX case, coupled with that power supply, and our 3060, our 5700, and the ATX motherboard and 32 gigs of RAM, and you've built yourself quite a nice gaming PC. I mean, this will be something that will play any game at HD at Ultra, and it won't really go below 60. And I think this will be a nice looking PC as well. So this case comes with 3 ARGB fans, and I think it's ARGB. Let's see. Yes, ARGB PWM fans. So you can, you know, build your profiles on that. And it doesn't have breakout. It doesn't look like breakout. I'm not sure. Maybe it does, but it doesn't look like breakout pins at the back. You know, I/O pins back there. It has a decent front I/O with a Type-C, 2 USB 3s, a reset button and a power button, and it also comes with audio jacks, which is interesting. You don't see that much anymore. What do you call those? I called them I/O pins. It's called, I guess, I don't know what you call them anymore. I mean, it's a bracket. I'm just forgetting the name for that now. PCI bracket, I guess. I'm not sure. Anyway, so yeah, so this is going inside this case. Now, in my opinion, this is a nice case. It has this perforation at the side here, at the bottom. So a little bit of air is going to be moving through there. It has the same thing at the top, and it has a lot of open space at the back. So, you know, in terms of airflow, this will be quite nice. And this is a fish tank style case, you know, the ones that are really popular right now. And it takes really big graphics cards. The graphics card we are using is only a 2-fan card, so it's not the biggest thing in the world, but I think it'll look nice in here, and I think overall it'll just be a really nice, good-looking PC. So let's count up the cost for this. Let me open up my calculator here. 64, 55, 47, 300, 52, and 253. So this PC comes in at $771. So it's not a cheap PC, right around $800. You know, you can maybe upgrade to the 5700X and it'll be around $800. So for $800, you are getting 8 cores of performance. I mean, for gaming, this is still an amazing CPU. You are getting a full ATX motherboard, no Wi-Fi, but you can upgrade to a Wi-Fi card. You can use the extra $20 for that as well. You are getting 4 DIMM slots. That's important to note. You are getting 32 gigs of RAM in only 2 DIMM slots, so you can upgrade to 64 if you want to. You are getting a 3060-12 gig, perfect for HD, and obviously a lot of VRAM. You're getting a 1 terabyte drive. I might want to shop around for a 2 terabyte if I were you. You're getting a 750 watt power supply, and you are getting a really nice looking case. So you're getting a really good PC at a not the best value but a decent value, especially considering these are new parts. So if it were me, I would probably try and build this second hand. I usually buy new power supplies and new cases, and everything else I will get second hand. But if you do decide to buy a new PC and you build something like this, you won't be disappointed. This will run 1440p as well, just not always at the highest frame rates, but it'll do fine. It'll be around 60 as well, so it wouldn't be too bad. But all in all, it'll be a really good PC and a nice looking PC, which is important as well. So with that said, let's take a look at how this will do prospectively. Stay with me. Okay, so taking a look at the prospective FPS performance metrics for the PC we are prospectively building. And of course, as always, go and check out Hardware Tested. Thank you to them for putting up the video. So on the one hand we have 1080p and on the other we have 1440p, so that's really useful to have. We have the 5700, we have a 3060, and in terms of RAM, it seems like these PCs have 16 gig, so that's going to be more or less the same. And in this game, Forza Horizon 5, 1080p, we are getting around 94 FPS, and at 1440p, 80 FPS. So that's quite good. Let's see what the graphics are at. This is running at, let's just take a look at that again. It was a little bit quick. Okay, high, everything on high, except for particles, and no upscaling. Okay. So that's a good result. I mean, 121 average HD, 102 average 1440p. So that's very good. Warzone, of course, is going to be a little bit more tough, but this card usually does quite well with Call of Duty. So let's take a look at what the specs are, what the performance is. So okay, so it's running at ultra. A mixture of normal and high, it seems. Okay, 1080p, 118 FPS, that's really good, and 1440p, 82 FPS average. So that's really good numbers. I mean, that's almost high refresh rate for 1080p, and for 1440p that's way above 60. So far I'm quite shocked. It's actually doing really well. Witcher seems to run really well, above 60 for both. I'm not going to look at Apex, PUBG. We can take a quick look at Red Dead Redemption. This is running at, let's take a look, Ultra across the board. Okay, so the Ultra preset. And this has, it seems like 80 average 1080p, 60 average 1440p. So for a single player game, that's amazing. I would play it at 1440p because 60 is 100% fine. Number 6, Siege is going to get really high numbers. Rust, Valheim, Cyberpunk, DLSS off and on. Let's take a look at DLSS off and see how that runs. Okay, everything at high. It seems decent. So Cyberpunk might be a step too far for 1440p, getting 50. Now personally, I might just tweak the graphics a little bit, maybe play on medium. But if you want to play at 1080p, 77 at high, that's a really good result. Oh, I'm being an idiot. It says in the middle there what the graphics are, so I didn't have to look at what they were put at in the beginning. So that's high, ultra, and epic. Okay, well that makes it easier. I was just being stupid. Well, let's take a look at what DLSS does. High with DLSS gives you less performance. That's interesting. Okay, so it's less for both, so don't bother with that. GTA 5, let's take a look. 182 average high settings on 1080p, 177 average ultra, 1440p high settings, 177 average. So those are high refresh rate results. And for a last one here, let's take a look at Battlefield 5. Battlefield 5, 86 FPS on high 1080p, 60 FPS on 1440p. So, wow, these are good results. I'm quite pleasantly surprised. And now the price for the PC comes into perspective a bit more. $800 for a system that does 60 FPS at 1440p in almost all AAA games. It's actually not that bad. So if you do want to build a system like this, you know, it wouldn't be a bad choice. Let me just say that. Now, I do think you can get the parts for cheaper on some other places, but overall, it's a good system, and you would do well to build it. And I think it would look amazing as well. But the performance is actually quite good. So that's about it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Cheers.